Hey, it's Kevin's podcast show. I'm Kevin. This is a podcast, and let's start the show. I just want to welcome you all to my salon, as it were. Not really a salon so much as it's just a place to do some recording. You see, I've got a green screen back over my shoulder right here. Be putting some pictures up later. We're going to be talking about a few things. But anyway, getting right into it. Today, my topic is going to be Donald Trump. So let's talk about Donald Trump for just a minute. Let's talk about him for a few minutes. Let's talk about, some of y'all out there may not like him. Some of you may hate him. I'm just going to be right up front with you. I didn't vote for him. I always vote Libertarian. I know some people say it's a wasted vote. I voted Libertarian since before 9/11, before the world changed. I voted Libertarian from way back. I'm a Libertarian to the core. I believe the government shouldn't have any part in our lives unless it absolutely has to, and that's the Libertarian philosophies, and that's where I'm at. So if you don't like the government being in your life, I want to look at the Libertarian policies. That's just a little note from your old Uncle Kev there. All right, let's talk about Donald Trump for just a minute. Donald Trump's been in office now for, let's see, a little over a year and a half, something like that. Coming up on a year and a half. So we're in May now. Let's talk about some of the things that's happened. We've had the whole Russian collusion thing, which is just an ongoing mess. And that's all I have to say about the Russian collusion deal. Is anybody surprised by that? Does that really surprise anybody? Do you really not think that the Russians are over there gouging their little sticks into our computers and trying to get us to get all stirred up? They're just gouging the hive, because it's kind of like somebody taking a 20-foot pole and gouging at a hornet's nest from way back, knowing that they're not going to get stung, or the likelihood is not going to be there, because they're not seeing the connection from one end of the pole to the other. All it is causing infighting and stuff that's going on in this country. So just let it go and do something about it. Stop it, so that the next time the elections come up, they can't do anything to it. You know what I'm saying? There's no collusion. There's as much collusion as on Donald Trump's side as there was on Hillary Clinton's side. Works both ways, folks. You know, politicians are crooked. Politicians are politicians. That's what they are. So let's just talk about Donald Trump's other mess that he might be into is Stormy Daniels. Our president had sex with a porn star 10 years ago. Do you care? Did you care when Bill Clinton got a blowjob in the Oval Office, the oral office? Did you care then? Did it bother you then? It bothered me because, for one thing, I was paying Monica Lewinsky's salary. She did it inside the Oval Office that I pay for, you pay for, taxpayers pay for. So, yeah, that bothered me a little bit. But it wouldn't have bothered me near as bad. Probably wouldn't even been an afterthought on my part if it had just come out and said, you know what? I had sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky, and it's between me and my wife. And I'd have said, okay, well, all right, that's between you and your wife. But you didn't do that, did you, Bill? Nope. You come out and you said that you didn't have sex with her. You lied to me. You lied to Congress. It was a big mess. Now, fast forward to Donald Trump. Look, Donald Trump's a billionaire. He's used to getting hot women. Look at the women he's had. Look at Melania Trump. And by the way, just as an aside, Melania Trump is by far, hands down, the best looking first lady we've ever had. Ever. And anybody says any differently, somebody come back with some Michelle Obama stuff, please. No, Melania is the best looking first lady we've ever had. So, that said, Donald Trump's used to being with beautiful women. Does it surprise anybody that he wanted to have sex with Stormy Daniels? I mean, look at her. Come on. Anyway, But that was 10 years ago. And I know that the whole thing is did they use campaign money to pay her off and yada, 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 and all this other stuff. And she signed an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. She signed that. She did. She went back against her word. So, I mean, come on, folks. It's just, here, let's hunt and peck, hunt and peck, hunt and peck. Yeah, he had sex with her. Let it go. Get over it. All right? That's how I feel about it. So, straight up, I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I'm not well pleased with all this crap that goes on around him. I wish somebody'd slap the Twitter feed out of his hand. I really do. But let's just think about some of the things that he's accomplished. Okay? We've got 2.2 million new jobs created. Unemployment's at the lowest rate that it's been in decades. Okay? We've had, I think it's 70 plus stock market highs since he's been in office. And you may not agree with his policies, but the financiers of the world do. And, you know, when the tide rises, all boats rise. You know, when the tide comes in, all boats rise, that old saying. Well, I may not be a financier, I may not be a big player, but all these companies making money is going to help the economy. The economy being helped is going to help the average American. I'm an average American, so why not? Let's see, what else has he got here? Black, African American, whatever kind of name you want to put on yourselves. Guess what? You guys, your unemployment rate, lowest it's been in ever. Just lowest it's been ever. Just ever. It's just low. It's just low. That's all it is. Let's see. What else we got going on here? Oh, yeah. That's something else he did. He lowered our taxes. Lowered our taxes, folks. And you say, well, hey, oh my gosh, he lowered taxes for the rich. No, he lowered my taxes. Go do the math. Look at the tax rate from last year compared to the one that's coming up this year. Do the math and see if you don't come out better. You can't say Bill Gates is going to get his taxes cut by $12 million and we're getting a paltry $500 because there's no comparison to what Bill Gates makes and what I make. I'm poor. He's rich. That's how that works. ISIS was defeated in Iraq, totally destroyed. And guess who took Mosul? Guess who drove ISIS out of Mosul and took Mosul? Was it the Americans? No, it was the Iraqi forces. And do you know why they did that? Because Donald Trump said to the generals over there, what do you need? And they said, we need A, B, and C, and D. And he said, well, here's A, B, C, and D. Go to it. In just a few months, guess what happened? No more ISIS. Then Syria started running their mouth. Syria did some bad stuff. Let me tell you something that Syria did. Syria used gas. They used illegal gas on citizens. And that's where our response come in. And we blew the shit out of them. I mean, we bombed the shit out of them. And it was chemical factories. And it was some of their communication facilities. And it was places like that. I'm putting some images back up there on the green screen as you can be able to see it. You know, we bombed the shit out of them. Man, I don't blame them. So that is what it is. Pulled out of the Iran deal. Pulled out of that bull crap that Obama got us into. Listen, all that was, let me tell you about these sanctions, okay? We told Iran, thank you, Obama. All the other countries that were involved really didn't matter. It was what the U.S. did, okay? That's why it made a big difference whenever the U.S. pulled out of the Iran deal. And they're still doing their bad stuff anyway, so what difference does it make? Okay, here's the deal, though. They were supposed to reduce the number of, I'm having to read this, I want to be sure and get it right. They were supposed to reduce the number of installed centrifuges from, I'll put it up on the screen back here, from 19,000 to 6,100, and there are only a few of those. No enriched uranium above 3.67% purity, which is what you can use for nuclear power and not for nuclear weapons. Okay, so they were supposed to reduce their stockpile of enriched uranium from the current 10,000 to not more than 300 kilograms. From 10,000 to not more than 300. That's what they're supposed to do. But they weren't complying. They weren't letting us in. They weren't letting us see what was going on. But what were we doing? Well, all the sanctions were to be lifted within 4 to 12 months of the final accord. They were supposed to develop a mechanism. They're supposed to develop a mechanism. Let's not develop a mechanism ahead of time. Let's just wait, develop a mechanism to restore old sanctions if Iran fails to comply with the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Association, or, IAEA. Okay, but there you go. The EU, this is what the EU will do. This is what the European Union will do. Will remove energy and banking sanctions. Okay? What that basically means is that businesses will be allowed to do some business with Iran, and they'll be able to sell some oil in Europe. That's what that was supposed to happen there. This is what the United States did. We removed sanctions against domestic and foreign companies who do business with Iran. See, what we were doing is we were putting sanctions on our own people and saying, you're not going to do business with Iran, but we were also saying, hey, if you do business with Iran, then we're not going to do business with you. That's how that works. And then under this accord, we were going to remove those sanctions and say, okay, it's okay, go ahead, reduce your stuff, it'll be all right, yeah. But anyway, you get the point. So, all UN resolutions sanctioning Iran would be annulled, and UN-related sanctions would be dismantled. I think it was a good idea that he pulled out, because they're not complying. They're never going to comply. They hate the U.S. Did you see what happens after he pulled out? The lawmakers, not people in the street, not crazy people in the street. That you can find crazy people anywhere in any country doing anything. So don't start me with crazy people in the street doing some crazy stuff. That's not how this works. What happened was lawmakers in Iran, that would be like our senators, our congressmen in the United States, their lawmakers got in their parliament, be like being in the United States Capitol building, burning somebody's flag and saying death to Iran, death to Iran. Do you think we'd even get... Come on, it's freedom of speech, but do you think that would really happen here? These people are nutso. So that's something he did, and I'm okay with that. Here's something the Democrats can get behind. Something Obama didn't do, and I wonder why. He gave $100 million to Flint, Michigan to get their water situation figured out. Just saying. Job growth is up. I'm just going to say right now, job growth is up. Job growth is up crazy amounts. We've got all the things that are ancillary to what we consider traditional professions, and that's things like physician's assistants, nurse practitioners, therapists, paralegals, vet techs, radiation techs, all these things where you can go to not a traditional college, you go to an actual school for that particular trade. The whole idea about, just off on a tangent here for just a second, but the whole idea about a 4-year degree being what you have to have in today's world is not necessarily the thing anymore. Oh, now let's talk about North Korea for just a minute. I heard a lot of people talking on TV about how he should shut his mouth about North Korea and how Kim Jong-un was a crazy man, and he is, that's not the point, and how that he's going to get us nuked, he's going to get us into a war. Guess what? We've never not been at war. We've just declared a ceasefire. My dad, who would be 85 this year, fought in that war in the 50s. So, don't tell me about he's going to get us into a war. We're obligated by treaty with the South Koreans to fight for them if he attacks. It doesn't matter if he attacks us or if he attacks them. We're still going to be in the middle of it. So, yeah, it is what it is. So, I don't even want to hear it whenever it comes to that. So, I will say this about that. North Korea has agreed to come to the table. Kim Jong-un has agreed to come to the table and talk with Trump. We've had 3 American prisoners released from North Korea. The last 3 that were being held. Okay? And for the first time, North Korea and South Korea have been talking to each other in the modern era. Unheard of. Do you think that would have happened under the Obama administration? No, I don't think so. And again, I'm not a big Trump fan, but I'm just saying, look, people, you've got to give him his due. All right? Things are looking up in North Korea. There's a glimmer of hope. There's a glimmer of hope that we might, maybe, have denuclearization of Korea. And maybe even one day a unification of the 2 Koreas. Wouldn't that be awesome? But a year and a half ago, we didn't have that glimmer of hope. At least there's a glimmer now. That's something. It's better than nothing. It's better than the status quo that Obama took for 8 years, and George Bush took for 8 years, and Bill Clinton took for 8 years, and George Bush Sr. took for 4 years, and Ronald Reagan took for 8 years, and so forth and so on and such, all the way back. It's been that way ever since. We've just been doing the same thing over and over and over again. They threaten, and they saber rattle, and then what we do, we give them some money for some food and humanitarian, and it goes to the elites over there, and the people who's supposed to get it don't get it, and that didn't work. And now Trump has been saber rattling right back, and guess what? It worked. All right, here's the thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about the border wall. Now, I'll leave the comments open on this page. You can comment all you want to. Doesn't matter to me. I'm okay with it. Comment. If you can explain to me how that a border wall is racist, and I've heard a lot of pundits talk about it on TV, being racist. It's a racist thing. If you can explain that to me, do a reaction video and tell me. Don't even try to type it out. Type it up, put it in the comments if you want to. I don't care, but hey, do a reaction video. Tag me in it. I'll look at it. Tell me how it's racist. And if we build a border wall and you want to argue about, is it worth the money? Are we going to be able to maintain it? Are we going to be able to man it? Are we going to be able to is it really going to be effective? If you want to argue any of those points, that's fine. But don't tell me that there's not a need to secure our border, and don't tell me that it's racist, because it's not. I'm gonna tell you something in law that is considered it's a I'm gonna say it's a doctrine, okay? And the doctrine is called an attractive nuisance doctrine, okay? Attractive nuisance doctrine. I'm going to read it because I want to get it right. It's an enticement. The attractive nuisance doctrine applies to the law of torts in the United States. It states that a landowner may be held liable for injuries of children trespassing on the land if the injury is caused by an object on the land that is likely to attract children. The doctrine is designed to protect children who are unable to appreciate the risk posed by the object by imposing a liability on the landowner. The doctrine has been applied to hold landowners liable for injuries caused by abandoned cars, piles of lumber or sand, trampolines, swimming pools, etc. However, it can be applied to virtually anything on the property of the landowner. Now, you say, well, how is that got anything to do with the border wall. I'm going to tell you exactly how that's got something to do with the border wall. And listen to me close right here. America is a land of attraction. It is an enticement. This whole country is an enticement. We have an enticement because we have freedom to live our dream, go to work, worship, speak. Yeah, it's getting a little worse. But anyway, we can own guns right now. We can do all these things that you can't do in other countries. And obviously, it's better than what it is in Mexico, because Mexicans are coming over here in droves, and Guatemalans are coming over here in droves, and as El Salvadorans are coming up here in droves, and Hondurans are coming up here in droves. And why are they doing that? Because their countries are shithole countries. Exactly. Their countries are shithole countries. But now, getting back to the attractive nuisance doctrine, the enticement, let's think about this for just a minute. If you build a swimming pool at your home, you're wealthy enough, you're affluent enough that you have been able to build a swimming pool at your home, what's the first thing that the insurance company is going to require that you have? A fence, a border fence around your property. And why is that? Because it is an attraction. It is an enticement for people to come over and get hurt. And that is essentially what a border wall does. Because you don't want people coming over and getting hurt in your swimming pool. You certainly don't want a child to come over and get in your swimming pool and drown. That would be horrible. Or just on a lesser scale, you don't want them to be running around the pool while you're not at home or something and fall and break an arm. Or you don't want a kid to come over and hit his head on a diving board or anything else. You don't want him to get hurt. And also, you don't want the kid coming over and screwing your crap up. You don't want the kid coming over and peeing in your pool, breaking your chairs, leaving your umbrellas up, and then the wind comes and carries your umbrellas off because they didn't put them back down the way you had them. You don't want them messing with stuff, and you don't want them to get hurt, so what do? You build a fence around your pool. People, that's what a border wall is. It's a fence around our pool. It's a fence around our country, because our country is an enticement. It is an attraction to people who have less. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't come here, because whenever I have a pool and I have a pool party and I invite people over, see where I'm going with this? When I invite people over, it's okay that they're there because I have insurance that covers them. I am prepared for them to be there. I have asked them to come. They bring something to the table in the form of they're there to enjoy one another's company, to fellowship with each other. It's a mutually beneficial thing. And whenever you come from another country, regardless if it's Mexico or Honduras or Canada, when you come here legally and you get a job legally and you pay taxes, then it is mutually beneficial for us, the U.S. citizen. And I don't want you coming up here and getting hurt and then I have to take care of you. Then I have that liability. And I certainly don't want you coming up here and taking something away from me that doesn't belong to you. I don't want you coming up here and peeing in my pool. You know what I'm saying? So stay in your country and quit peeing in my pool. So, till next time, take care of yourselves. Out.
Don't go ninja, nobody don't need ninja.